Alright, so what is going on, everybody? You guys are seeing this video pretty late on the 17th. It's pretty much the 18th on the East Coast. But as I landed into Seattle's airport today, Woj broke the news that the trade was being finalized, that Pascal Siakam was getting traded from the Toronto Raptors to the Indiana Pacers. Indiana ended up sending Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, and 3 future first-round picks. That includes their first-round pick this year, the worst pick between the Jazz, Rockets, Clippers, and OKC, so that one's going to be in the 20s, and their first-round pick in 2026 in exchange for Pascal Siakam. The Pelicans got involved in this as well, and they ended up sending Kyra Lewis to Toronto and a second-round pick just to get off of his salary. And yeah, we finally saw Indiana make a major move, and the Toronto Raptors trade off their final piece into their new and exciting rebuild and retool. So what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? I'm going to be giving you guys a reaction to this deal, my thoughts on it, who I think won, give some letter grades, and what I see from these two teams going forward. I'm recording this in Whistler, Canada. I just ended up on a 6.5-hour flight from New York, woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, just spent the last 4.5 hours driving from Seattle through Vancouver all the way up to Whistler, Canada, because I'll be snowboarding here the next couple of days. So yeah, let's talk about this trade first for the Indiana Pacers side of things. So we all know that Indiana is a very fun and exciting team this season, obviously on the backs of emerging superstar Tyrese Halliburton, who is one of the best point guards in the league. The Pacers, at the moment I'm recording this video, are 23-17. They're pretty much in that logjam in the Eastern Conference from the 4 seed to the 8 seed, which is just separated by 3 games. So with this trade, you think that they are going to try to separate themselves from the Orlando Magic, Miami Heat, New York Knicks, and Cleveland Cavaliers tier, and try to solidify themselves as the 4th best team in the Eastern Conference if they can't pass Philly. And we know that Indiana really isn't a big free agency destination spot, so who knows if they were going to be able to even convince Pascal Siakam to sign with them in the 2024 offseason. So they make a risky move, which is always going to be risky, for a rental. They go out and they get Pascal Siakam, who's averaging 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists this year for the Toronto Raptors. He's also shooting 52% from the field, 32% from 3, and 76% from the line. And when you look at this kind of just on the surface level and you're like, whoa, 3 future first-round picks for Pascal Siakam who could leave in a couple of months, yeah, that's risky. But they weren't going to make this move unless they had a really good idea that Pascal Siakam would re-sign with them in the offseason. Obviously, he's going to be the number 2 on this team. He could even be the leading scorer for the rest of the year because Tyrese Halliburton could impact the game in so many other ways than scoring the ball. So Halliburton's assists could even go up with this as well. And you have to be excited about a Siakam and Halliburton 2-man duo because that can really light up the floor in the half-court set. Their pick and rolls, their pick and pops can be really lethal. And Siakam is probably going to sign like a 4-year extension with the Pacers. So you're going to get the rest of his prime until his age 33 season. You're definitely going to milk the best years out of him. And that's why I like this trade for the Pacers because you know what? You're giving up your first-round pick this year. You hope it's in the late teens, early 20s, or maybe even in the late 20s. You're also giving up that swap worst pick, but hey, that is also not going to be a great pick either because the OKC Thunder are 27-13. They're the 2 seed in the Western Conference. The Clippers look like a team that they can win the finals. So that pick is most likely going to be in the late 20s. And a lot of people are calling this a weaker draft as well. They are giving up their 2026 first, which could have some risk to it if they aren't able to re-sign Pascal Siakam or capitalize on this momentum in the offseason and next year. But with Tyrese Halliburton running the show, I doubt that they're going to take a step back in 2026. So shout out to Kevin Pritchard and the Pacers front office for getting this deal done, finally putting their balls on the table and going out and getting an all-star caliber name to pair up with Tyrese Halliburton because now on paper, this Pacers team looks a lot better. This is also a team with a ton of depth as well because they still have Miles Turner as their rim protecting 5. They still have second-year standout Benedict Mathurin. They were able to keep one of the better 3-point shooters in the league in Buddy Hield. They were able to keep more of their young players as well like Jarris Walker, Andrew Nembhard, and Ben Shepherd. They kept TJ McConnell in this deal as well. And they kept Obi Toppin as well. Now, I assume with them spending a top 10 pick on Jarris Walker and just trading for Pascal Siakam, Obi Toppin will be gone, or hey, he could even get traded at the deadline as well if they really can't find a role for him. They were also able to keep Jalen Smith, who's breaking out this year, Aaron Nesmith as well. So this Pacers team has plenty of depth, and they could withstand injuries as well to some of their role players. And losing Bruce Brown could hurt some of their game as well, but I think they're going to be fine going forward. Like I said, they could have another trade in place if it's involving Obi Toppin, or maybe it's Buddy Hield, who's wanted to kind of get out of Indiana for a little bit. And this definitely elevates the Pacers' ceiling as a team together. You can always go back to them having Tyrese Halliburton and how he can elevate everybody else's game around him. And this Pacers team, I could say, can compete with pretty much anybody in the Eastern Conference not named Boston or Milwaukee. I'm still going to take those 2 teams, but man, oh man, do I want Milwaukee and Indiana in the playoffs together. They've been going back and forth all year. Indiana has been playing very well against them, and I think that would just be a fantastic playoff series. I don't know if the Pacers would end up as the 17 and we get a 2-7 matchup, but that would just be a golden round 1 series between those two teams, which would be super fun to watch. And I think the Pacers have a good direction going forward if they are able to re-sign Pascal Siakam. They have most of their core under contract as well, like Miles Turner's under contract next year. Benedict Mathurin's on his rookie deal. Aaron Nesmith signed a great team-friendly contract in the offseason. You hope to re-sign maybe a Jalen Smith. I didn't mention him before, but keep Isaiah Jackson around, so they have plenty of big man depth as well. They have a good backup point guard in TJ McConnell, and you hope Benedict Mathurin continues to improve as well, who can maybe be the third scoring option on this team. And if he keeps getting better and better like he's shown in year number 2, the sky could be the limit for this Pacers team, and I'm very excited about the deal they made. I'm going to give it an A. I don't think these picks are going to be too much of value. Definitely not the 2 picks they gave up this year. Maybe that pick in 2026 could have some value just because it's so far in the future, so you don't really know how they are going to be. But with Haliburton not even close to his prime, you're still going to get Pascal Siakam in your prime. And like I just mentioned, a bunch of these guys are still under contract, so I think they're going to be good in 2026. So I honestly don't think this is a crazy package to give up for Siakam. As for Toronto, I am very happy with them finally trading away guys like OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam and finally entering into this rebuild that they probably should have done last offseason and maybe even the year prior. Because in hindsight, them trading their protected first-round pick this year, top 6 protected for Jakob Poeltl, does not look great whatsoever. But now with trading away Siakam, you have to think that this Raptors team is probably going to finish like towards the bottom of the Eastern Conference, and you hope to keep that 6th overall pick or maybe get kind of lucky in the lottery as well. And now you're going to have a plethora of first-round picks in this deal. You're going to basically have pick 31 in the draft because you have the Pistons second rounder. So this Raptors team could have 3 to 4 players in a draft that could be all over the place, where the best guys in this draft could be taken in the end of the first round or the early second. There's like 8 guys that are projected to go number 1 overall. So who knows what it's going to look like at the top. And I'm sure Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster are going to fall in love with international prospects like Alexander Sarr, Nikola Topic, Zachary Visasher, Tijan Salon, or any one of those guys as well that could have a very high ceiling for them going forward and can definitely be patient with them in this rebuild process. And kind of looking back on last year, I wonder if they regret the Grady Dick pick a little bit because maybe they thought they'd be in more of contention this year as well. But you know what? I applaud Toronto for going out, trading OG Anunoby about a couple weeks ago, getting RJ Barrett, getting Emmanuel Quickly, having some foundation building blocks next to Scotty Barnes, who is your franchise player going forward. Maybe they are able to find a team that would take on Jakob Poeltl or Gary Trent Jr. And I think they could probably move Bruce Brown as well. And I think you can even get a protected first rounder or maybe take a flyer on a young player in exchange for Bruce Brown, because some team will definitely value his role-playing ability, like we saw for Denver last year, how important Bruce Brown was to that team. So yeah, maybe Toronto can go out and get another first-round pick in this draft or get another future first-round pick in exchange for Bruce Brown going forward and just really add more draft capital and assets to this team's future going forward. So I am very thrilled about Toronto finally doing this deal, finally trading Pascal Siakam. And it's funny because Chris Boucher is now the only player from the 2019 championship team that is still on that roster. We know that Kawhi left in the 2019 free agency. Fred VanVleet left last year. Kyle Lowry was in a sign and trade. Marc Gasol retired, and they just traded away Siakam and Anunoby. So yeah, it's just Chris Boucher that is remaining, which is just kind of funny that he was the last guy standing from that championship team. And I think Masai Ujiri can be a little bit stubborn at times as well, and always kind of wants to definitely come out as the favor on top of trades and won't get a deal done, even if it's in their best interest, if he's not going to look like the absolute winner in the deal. So I applaud him for finally doing this. I know it had to be tough to move away Pascal Siakam, who was your franchise player basically since Kawhi left. So that was definitely tough to do, but they made the right decision. They're going to have some cap space going forward. And yeah, I'm very excited about the Raptors. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this trade as well in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. I'd probably give the Raptors an A in this deal, just moving on from Siakam, getting some draft capital, and we could see more from BBQ, which is basically Barrett, Barnes, and Quickly. And I'm excited to see more Grady Dick as well, and we'll see what they do with Bruce Brown. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Drop a like if you guys did enjoy. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.